This is Next Radio.
With Broadcast Bionics. Innovative solutions for creative people.
So this is me, and I'm wearing my N14.net hat this afternoon. N14 is an area of London, Southgate, and I've lived there for the last 12 years. And we've not had a community website ever in Southgate, and I was interested in running one, partially to test new web technology and to try my hand at something that wasn't radio, just in case, you know, and partially to see whether I could bring the automation techniques that successfully run Media UK to a community website as well, and I think that they might do. Now, this is what the website looks like. It went live in July. It's had no publicity. It's not finished yet. You can see it's in beta. Doubtless it'll be in beta for quite some time. Even though it's not really been pushed yet, I've had over 1,400 unique visitors to the site. That means 1 in 10 of all households in the area. Of course, those figures aren't necessarily exact, but around 4,000 page impressions as well. And it occurs to me that what N14.net does is good for radio stations to learn from too. So here are my 10 things that I have learnt and I think may resonate with radio. First thing is talk to people. One of the first things I did is I went out to local businesses and I talked to them and I asked them questions about what it is that they might want from a community website. Emma, who runs this shop, happens to be very senior in the Chamber of Commerce in the area, which is brilliant. And she's talked to loads of people about N14.net, done a fantastic job. So word of mouth really only works when you get out and talk to people. Mobile is massive. 62% of my traffic is via mobile or tablet. Now, of course, N14.net is fully responsive, but many radio websites aren't. It amazes me, and I think you're missing a huge trick if you don't make your website work well on mobile, because mobile is massive. Free data is everywhere. There's everything from real-time tube and bus information to planning information, police crime statistics, voting information, and of course people's blogs as well. You can use this to make your website the most useful local resource if you want to, because free data is everywhere. Fourthly, news doesn't always come via press releases. In fact, it can come from really interesting places. This is Google Map Maker, and Google Map Maker shows you all the changes on Google Maps for a specific area. And it was on here that I noticed a new restaurant coming to town. The guy that ran the restaurant said, "How did you know about us?" And I said, well, I found out on Google Map Maker. You can search Twitter or Google Plus too. You can learn an awful lot from your local community from that as well, and reply to them too. Because news doesn't always come via a press release. Get out there. The only way to sound knowledgeable about a local festival or a local demonstration or a party is to be there. And the second most popular story so far on N14.net was a simple, straightforward photo gallery of this. This is the Southgate Festival. It's our first local festival for 15 years. If you've ever worked in newspapers, you will know that papers with pictures of people sell because their family buy them, they buy them, and the same goes for websites, but you've got to get out there. Number 6, ask advice from others. I spent a lot of time before I launched talking to other people that ran community websites near me, and the advice they gave was really useful, incredibly useful. And I think you too should ask advice from others, either from people who work at radio stations near you, at Radio Academy events such as this, or online. I believe Media UK is very good for that. Lots of other people's experiences can be really helpful in making what you do better, so ask advice from others. Number 7, news isn't all bad. This was one of the pieces of advice that I got from the person who runs N21.net, which is next door to us. Nobody visits a website, he said, to be depressed, which I thought was good. I thought BBC News ought to know about that. This is the Wagon and Horses. Now, this is a pub that has been in Southgate for 130 years. It's called the Wagon and Horses because the last horse-drawn buses from London used to terminate in Southgate right here in the early 1900s. It's really sad news, I think, that it's closed. But it's going to be replaced by a Mediterranean restaurant and quite a lot of people on Twitter really like this idea. This tweet says, "I will queue up for opening day and order a Curvin special." Quoting Fash90, "There's a Curvin opening in Southgate. Mad." So the story on the website wasn't old pub closes. The story on the website was Curvin Safrazi opens a new restaurant in Southgate, because news isn't all bad. Don't reinvent the wheel. I'm using Disqus, which is for comments. I'm using a responsive framework called TukTuk. I don't yet have a photo gallery, but Google Plus does that pretty well. The events calendar is just a Google Calendar script that I wrote about 5 years ago. So launching a minimum viable product and using this stuff makes it really easy to iterate as well. So don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. Social media is huge. Actually, n14.net reaches more people on Twitter and on Facebook than it does on the website. It's how most people consume us, and it's why you'll notice that n14.net is probably rather more active on Twitter than it is anywhere else. Just like Media UK, Twitter is the #1 source of traffic to this website. So taking social media seriously has never been more important, because social media is huge. And finally, the biggest news isn't the most obvious news. I'm going to break one of my rules here, because we have a Wimpy in Southgate. Do you remember Wimpy? Anybody? Yeah, fantastic. This Wimpy has been here since the late 1960s, when it first opened, along with the building that it's in. I say it's been here, it had been here. It closed down. So I broke one of my own rules already. The biggest story, by far, has been news of Wimpy's closure in Southgate. And what's to become, which I learned by using the council's planning permission database, along with Google, is going to become a Paddy Power. We're now going to have 3 betting shops in 300 metres. Brilliant. Would you have put this story at #1 in a bulletin? I would doubt it. But then the biggest news isn't obvious. So that's n14.net. I hope that gives you food for thought, because I think those 10 rules, very valid for community radio websites, but I think, or community websites, but I think also just as valid for radio websites as well, particularly local radio. So this is how you can reach me with my n14.net hat on, and now I'll go away and put my radio hat back on. Thanks.
One of the great things about all the stuff that we're hearing today is that whether you're a big national brand or whether you're a little local station, there's something for you.
And it just twigs off things in your brain, or kind of conversations with other people from the industry that you maybe wouldn't have had sat at your desk with your colleagues.
What I've enjoyed the most today has been being able to meet people and being here in this amazing place with all these radio professionals.
This is Next Radio.
With Broadcast by Onyx. Innovative solutions for creative people.